thank you everyone for coming to our presentation today in regard to the integrator and end-user relationship. We have two fine presenters, and then we'll have a panel afterwards. But what I want to do initially, for those of you who are not familiar with the Control System Integrators Association, I'm just going to take a few minutes and give you an overview of what CSIA is as an association, and also just speak briefly about the CSIA certification program. Very briefly, the history of CSIA is that we began in the early 90s with just a small handful of companies, and they were coming together, gathering statistics, comparing notes, and so forth, and eventually that was the nucleus for what became CSIA. Then in 93 was the first membership meeting, the actual first formal get-together. In 1997, we wrote the first Best Practices and Benchmarks Manual, which is a book written by integrators for integrators, and it's a guide on how to run a good system integration company, and it covers topics like financial management, human resources, project management, quality assurance systems, and so forth. And one thing it's important to understand is that CSIA we do not dive into technology. We leave that to the ISAs and the OPCs and all the automation suppliers of the world to do all that the technical training, and we focus on the business practices of a control system integration company. In the year 2000, we started our certification program, which is kind of an extension of the Best Practices Manual. I'll elaborate on that in a minute. We started an insurance program in 2003 for system integrators, simply because the insurance industry does not understand what we do, and our members were not getting proper coverage at proper prices. 2009, we put in place a new and unique leadership structure, and that's when I started as executive director of CSIA. And I come out of the systems integration industry, and we have an association management company who knows how to run associations. So between the two of us, it's kind of a hybrid model. That's what we are now. And in 2012, we really started putting a significant effort into global growth and brand awareness of CSIA all around the world. So where are we today after that humble beginning in the early 90s? We have 286 integration companies that are members, and then added to that are 87 certified companies. And so the total number of integrator or members who are in the system integration business is 373, and they're spread over approximately 27 countries, and 82 of those are outside of the U.S., so we are truly a global organization and wanting to make that even increasingly so. And we have 88 partner members, and partners are the automation suppliers of the world, and nearly every significant and large, as well as many of the small suppliers, are CSIA members also. So what is our vision? Our vision is we want industries everywhere to be able to have technology delivered to them in a safe and reliable way. And that's all-encompassing. So therefore, we see our constituents not just as our integrator members, not just our partner members, but also the end users. So our mission is basically has like four legs to the stool. One is to improve the business practices of system integrators. We want to be the forum where integrators come together and they learn from one another. They share best practices and also learn from and interface with and build relationships with the automation suppliers of the world, and increase global presence, which I mentioned already, and have CSIA certification become an industry standard where end users of the world would prefer or require CSIA certified companies. And I'm going to expand on that just briefly, and then we'll get started in the presentation. So why would an end user be interested in any way in having a CSIA certified company? Well, I just throw three analogies up on the screen, and very simply, if you were hiring a contractor and you had a choice between a licensed contractor and a non-licensed, which would you choose? If you're selecting a doctor and one is board certified and one isn't, which would you choose? If you're buying a component for a project, one's UL listed and one is not, which would you choose? You choose the one that's the lower risk and the greatest probability of success, and that's what a CSIA certified member is. So with that, that's an overview of CSIA and our certification program. And with that, let's, well, one more slide, I'm sorry. So what is it from the way we see it, what I hear when I talk to end users? There are three main concerns when building a relationship with a system integration company. They want to know, do you have experience in my industry, in my application? They want to know, do you have experience in my technology? And lastly, tell me about your business practices. Well, the top two we can't help with, but the bottom one we can, and I put it at the bottom of the triangle because it is the basis. It requires a company that has good technical expertise and good business practices to be successful in the long run for the sake of their end users. And those good business practices are the foundation for the other two, so it's at the bottom of the triangle. With that said, let's not do any questions right now. Let's just move right into the presentations.